So the release of the new iPhone 13s and iPhone 13 Pros also means a myriad of case options to choose from. I picked up two quite popular cases for my iPhone 13 Pro. Apple Silicone case and the Caseology Nano Pop case. At first glance, they may look very similar until you realize that one costs 3.5 times more than the other. I've been using both of these cases on and off for the past week and a half, and I'm just gonna say my findings really surprised me. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Avery and I create videos about tech and student life on this channel. If at the end of this video you liked what you watched, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out. It shows your appreciation for these videos, and it also makes my relatives very happy. I will be comparing the Apple Silicone case and the Caseology Nano Pop in 4 categories: look and feel, accessibility, protection, and any other X factors that should be known before buying. Without further ado, let's jump right in with the first section. So the design of any case will be subjective from person to person, but in my opinion, the Apple case looks much more sleek and minimalistic as opposed to the Caseology case. And I'm generally quite a minimalistic guy when it comes to my everyday carry items, so this was right up my alley. The Apple case just has a sharper look to it, with more squared off edges and individual hole cutouts for the speakers and the lightning port. But not to say that this looks bad. If I had just had the Caseology, I wouldn't mind the design of it. And it also has the yellow trim around the camera bump, which gives it a pop of color. At first, I was a bit turned off by it, but it has grown on me while using it. When using each of these cases, I generally find that the Apple Silicone case feels much better in the hand because of the grippiness from the silicone itself, as opposed to the TPU material in the Caseology case. I just feel much more confident that I won't drop my brand new iPhone 13 Pro in this case as opposed to this one. The Caseology case just feels a bit slipperier, but it's still quite manageable in the hand. So for the look and feel section, I'm going to give this a win to the Apple Silicone case, but it isn't that far ahead of the Caseology case. This is probably the most subjective section though, so take my word with a grain of salt. The next section is the accessibility section, which includes all the parts of the case that you use to interact with your phone, like the buttons and the port cutout. And this is where I'm going to remind you that the Apple case is 3.5 times more expensive than the Caseology case. Just keep that in mind throughout this section. When it comes to the buttons, I generally find that the Apple Silicone case tends to have much more tactile and clicky buttons compared to the Caseology case. In Apple's case, I can hear and feel a satisfying pop when I press each button. But in the Caseology case, the buttons are just a little bit stiffer to press and not as satisfying as well. Both cases have ample room for many different charging cables at the bottom, and both cases also have a similar size opening for the mute switch. But what I have noticed as a difference is the difficulty in taking each of the cases on and off. In my experience, the Apple case is much easier to put on the iPhone, but I've noticed that the Caseology case is actually the easier one to take off. This has to do with the stiffness of each of the cases itself. The Apple's case is more rigid all around and doesn't bend that much, while Caseology's case is a bit more flimsy because of its TPU material. Finally, a grippier case also means more friction, and that's not necessarily the best when it comes to taking your phone in and out of your pocket dozens of times per day. Because Apple's case is grippier, it also requires a lot more effort to take it in and out of your pants pocket compared to the Caseology case. Again, this section is a slight win to the Apple Silicone case, but also by not that much. And is it worth another $50? We'll see. So this next section is going to be pretty short because right off the bat, I'm going to immediately say that both of these cases are not tough cases. Although the Caseology case does advertise some drop protection, I would not be confident dropping my phone in any of these cases, even on carpet floors. Instead, I'm gonna look at the other aspects of protection that are more applicable to the average person. The screen lips on both of these cases are high enough where I don't worry about my iPhone screen making out with the tables that I'm placing it on. Same thing goes for the camera lip as well. They're both raised enough that I'm not worried that it will scratch on a table. But it is cutting it a little bit close because of how thick the iPhone 13 Pro's camera bump is, which means that the iPhone, with a case or without a case, does not lie flush with a table on its back. So this section is a tie, which is a testament to the Caseology Nano Pop. But yet again, both of these cases are tough cases to begin with. So this last section is all about X factors about each of these cases. Starting with the X factors of the Apple Silicone case, it supports MagSafe on the case itself. This might be a deciding factor for some people if you are planning to utilize this ecosystem of accessories. This case also has a microfiber lining on the inside of the case, which helps to prevent scratches to the back of the phone from trapped dust, and just makes the overall case feel much higher quality. Additionally, when you put the Apple Silicone case onto the phone, it shows a cool little MagSafe animation with the color of your case, which I thought was pretty cool. But the biggest X factor that I noticed between these two cases, as a person who hates seeing dust and fingerprints, is how attractive each of these cases are to dust and lint. The Apple Silicone case is a dust and lint magnet. You might have seen it on the B-roll throughout this video, because at times I just gave up on wiping it down every 7 seconds. Dust and lint also collects more on the front of the phone somehow, which is kind of weird. The Caseology Nano Pop, on the other hand, collects much less dust around the case in the phone, but it does attract more fingerprints and oils easier on the back. Case in point, if you do have some OCD with the cleanliness of your phone like me, a silicone case like Apple's is definitely not your fit. So after this comparison, the Apple Silicone case definitely won in more areas compared to the Caseology Nano Pop. But that was expected. I expect to get an overall better case when I'm paying upwards of $50 for one. But what I wasn't expecting was how well the Caseology case held its own compared to Apple's case. As I was using both of these cases, I constantly kept asking myself whether or not I'm getting an extra $50 of value out of the Apple Silicone case. But most of the time, that answer was no. And there were actually times where I preferred the Caseology case just because of its resistance to dust and lint. They're both good cases. It's just about whether you want your extra $50 to go to a status symbol or save it for something else. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking to the end of the video. If you haven't already, go check out my iPhone 13 Pro unboxing, which also includes the unboxing for my Apple Silicone case as well. Also, my next video is going to be the iPhone 13 Pro review, so stay tuned for that. As always, gently tap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I release a new video. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.